Commander Vextar stood before the massive viewing screen of the hegemony flagship Dominion's Edge. The stars stretched endlessly before him, each one representing another world that had fallen under Zephyrian control. 43 star systems now bore the crimson banner of the hegemony. Today they would add the 44th. The blue planet rotating slowly on the display looked unremarkable. Its inhabitants called it Earth, according to the intercepted transmissions. Vextar's scouts had been monitoring their primitive radio signals for months. The species was young, barely having reached their own moon. They showed promise in their crude mathematics and basic science, but they were still trapped on a single world like children afraid to leave their nest. "Status report," Vextar commanded, his three eyes focusing on the tactical display. Sub-Commander Crozhai approached, her scaled skin gleaming under the bridge lights. The planet shows typical pre-spaceflight civilization markers: nuclear weapons, basic satellite technology, chemical rockets. Population approximately 8 billion. They appear to have multiple governing bodies instead of a unified planetary authority. Vextar's mandibles clicked in amusement. Divided and primitive. This will be simple. He turned to his communications officer. "Open a channel. Standard conquest protocol." The transmission array powered up, sending a message across the void toward the small blue world. Vextar had delivered this same ultimatum to dozens of species. Most surrendered immediately upon realizing they faced a galactic empire. The few who resisted were crushed within days. "People of Earth," Vextar's voice echoed through the ship's speakers as it was transmitted across space. "I am Commander Vexitar of the Zephyrian hegemony. Your world now falls under our domain. You will surrender all military assets and submit to hegemony rule. Your compliance will be rewarded with integration into our empire. Resistance will result in the complete elimination of your species. You have 72 hours to respond." The message raced through space at light speed. It would take time to reach Earth and more time for any response to return. Vextar expected the usual pattern: panic, desperate attempts at negotiation, and finally inevitable surrender. 3 days passed. The response came as a simple audio transmission, calm and clear. The bridge crew gathered around as the alien voice spoke in surprisingly good galactic standard. "Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian hegemony. This is Director Chen of the United Earth Coalition. We have received your ultimatum and considered your demands. We acknowledge your message. We are advancing toward you. This is your only warning." Silence filled the bridge. Crozhai's head tilted in confusion. "Sir, did they just threaten us?" Vextar replayed the message, his three eyes narrowing. The voice had been steady, almost conversational. No fear, no pleading, no anger. Just a simple statement of fact. "They cannot be serious," War Chief Graltex growled from his station. "Our sensors show no spacefaring vessels beyond their immediate planetary vicinity. They have no faster-than-light capability. How exactly do they plan to advance toward us?" The bridge crew erupted in clicking laughter. The idea that a planet-bound species could threaten the hegemony was absurd. Vexitar allowed the amusement to continue for a moment before raising his hand for silence. "Perhaps their translation systems malfunctioned," Sub-Commander Crozhai suggested. "They may have intended to surrender, but their primitive technology failed them." Vextar studied the tactical display. Earth sat alone in its star system, vulnerable and isolated. The nearest hegemony outpost was 12 light-years away. Even if these humans somehow developed faster than light travel overnight, they would need decades to reach hegemony space. "Send another transmission," Vextar ordered. "Make our position clear." The communications officer nodded and opened the channel again. "Humans of Earth, perhaps you misunderstood our message. The Zephyrian hegemony controls 43 star systems. Our fleet consists of over 10,000 warships. You possess no interstellar travel capability. Your threat is meaningless. Submit now, or face extinction." This time the response came within hours. The same calm voice, the same steady tone. "Commander Vextar, our position has not changed. We are advancing toward you. Prepare accordingly." War Chief Graltex slammed his fist on his console. "This is insulting. These primitives dare mock the hegemony? I request permission to assemble a strike force. We can reduce their world to ash within a cycle." Vextar considered this. The standard protocol for defiant species was indeed orbital bombardment. But something about these humans intrigued him. Their confidence made no logical sense. Either they were bluffing with admirable courage, or they knew something the hegemony did not. "No," Vextar decided. "We wait. If they wish to advance toward us, let them try. Their failure will serve as an example to other species who might consider defiance. Sir, Science Officer Velmar spoke up from her station. I've been analyzing their transmissions. The signal strength and clarity suggest they have more advanced communication technology than our initial scans indicated. Also, the human who spoke used perfect galactic standard. That language requires years of study. Your point? Vextar asked. They may not be as primitive as we assumed. Someone on that planet has been studying us long enough to master our language. Vexitar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. How long would that take? For most species, at least a decade of intensive study. The bridge fell quiet. If the humans had been studying galactic standard for a decade, that meant they had been aware of the hegemony long before today's first contact. But how? The hegemony's closest outposts were light years away. Impossible, War Chief Graltex declared. They have no deep space capability. They cannot have reached our space to study us. Unless, Sub-Commander Crozhai said slowly, we have reached them first. Our scout ships, our automated probes, our long-range sensors. We have been observing them. But what if they have been observing us as well? Vextar turned back to the viewing screen. Earth continued its slow rotation, looking peaceful and defenseless. But if Crozhai was right, if these humans had somehow been studying the hegemony without their knowledge, then perhaps their confidence was not misplaced. Double our sensor sweeps, Vextar commanded. I want to know if anything at all leaves that planet. If these humans truly believe they can advance toward us, then we will watch them try. The crew returned to their stations, but the atmosphere had changed. The easy confidence of minutes before had been replaced by uncertainty. Somewhere on that distant blue world, 8 billion humans were preparing for something the hegemony could not understand. And for the first time in his long military career, Commander Vextar felt the first cold touch of doubt. 18 months had passed since the humans issued their impossible threat. Commander Vextar had almost forgotten about the defiant little planet when the first report arrived from the outer colonies. Sir, you need to see this immediately, Sub-Commander Crozhai said, her voice tight with concern. She held a datapad that trembled slightly in her clawed hands. Vexitar accepted the device and read the report from Outpost Kithera, stationed at the edge of hegemony space. What he read made no sense. Unknown vessels detected in Sector 7 Alpha. Ships appear to be of primitive design but are somehow maintaining faster-than-light velocity without detectable FTL drives. Vessels ignored all hail attempts and departed system before intercept was possible. Vextar looked up from the pad. This is obviously an error. Primitive ships cannot achieve faster-than-light travel. That was my first thought as well, sir. But 3 more outposts have filed similar reports over the past month. Each sighting shows the same thing. Crude ships that should not be capable of interstellar travel, somehow crossing space faster than light. War Chief Graltex approached, his armor clanking with each heavy step. Perhaps another species is testing new technology. The ships may only appear primitive. I considered that, Crozhai replied. But our sensors analyzed the hull composition. The materials match exactly with what we detected from Earth 18 months ago. Steel, aluminum, ceramics. These are human ships. The bridge fell silent. Vextar read through the reports again, trying to find some explanation that made sense. The laws of physics were absolute. No species could achieve faster-than-light travel without exotic matter or dimensional manipulation technology. Humans had neither. Show me the sensor recordings, Vextar commanded. The main display activated, showing grainy footage from the outer sensors. The ships that appeared were indeed crude by galactic standards. They looked like metal cylinders with basic engines attached. But the readings were undeniable. These vessels were moving at velocities that should have been impossible. Computer, analyze propulsion signatures, Vextar ordered. The ship's artificial intelligence processed the data for several moments before responding. Analysis inconclusive. Detected propulsion methods do not match any known faster-than-light technology. Vessels appear to be using conventional chemical rockets combined with unknown additional systems. Unknown additional systems? Vextar repeated, affirmative. Energy signatures suggest a combination of technologies working together. Cryogenic suspension systems, advanced life support, and an unidentified energy manipulation method. Science Officer Velmar looked up from her station. Sir, I think I understand what we're seeing. These humans aren't using traditional FTL drives. They're using generation. Ships equipped with some form of temporal or dimensional manipulation technology we don't recognize or explain. A generation ship would normally take thousands of years to reach interstellar distances. But if they found a way to compress time or fold space around the ship without creating a traditional FTL field, they could achieve the same effect using much simpler technology. Vextar's mandibles clicked in thought. That would require physics knowledge beyond most spacefaring species. Which brings us to the more disturbing reports, Crowseye interrupted. She activated another display. 3 colonies in the Outer Rim have reported infiltration attempts. The new reports were even more unsettling. Human teams, consisting of no more than 3 or 4 individuals, had somehow appeared on planets deep within hegemony space. These infiltrators did not engage in combat or sabotage. Instead, they studied the colonies, learned about hegemony technology and culture, and vanished before security forces could capture them. How are they reaching these planets? Vextar demanded. Our sensor networks would detect any ships approaching. That's the problem, sir. No ships have been detected. These humans appear to be using some form of transportation that bypasses our detection systems entirely. Vextar studied the infiltration reports. The humans had been observed on 7 different worlds across 4 star systems. In each case, they had demonstrated remarkable adaptability. On planets with toxic atmospheres, they appeared with custom breathing apparatus. On high-gravity worlds, they wore mechanical assistance suits built from local materials. On planets with extreme temperatures, they constructed shelters using techniques that surprised even hegemony engineers. This is impossible, War Chief Graltex growled. These are the same primitives who were trapped on a single planet 18 months ago. How did they advance so quickly? Perhaps they were never as primitive as we believed, Velmar suggested. Our initial scans may have missed hidden technology. Vextar reviewed the original intelligence reports from Earth. The humans had indeed appeared primitive. Nuclear weapons, basic computers, chemical rockets. But what if those had been deliberate misdirection? What if the humans had been hiding their true capabilities? Sir, the communications officer called out. Incoming transmission from Colony Base Xarian, on screen. The image that appeared showed Colonel Thekvar, the military commander of a mining colony 12 light-years from Earth. His usually composed demeanor was shattered. Commander Vextar, we have a situation. 3 humans infiltrated our primary mining facility. They studied our extraction equipment for 6 hours before our security teams discovered them. When confronted, they did not resist or attempt to escape. They simply talked, Vextar repeated. They spoke perfect hegemony standards, sir. Not just the language, but our military protocols, our cultural customs, even our personal histories. One of them knew details about my service record that are classified at the highest levels. They acted like they had been studying us for years. Did you capture them? No, sir. While my teams were trying to process what the humans were telling them, the infiltrators simply walked away. When we tried to follow, they had vanished completely. But they left something behind. Colonel Thekvar held up a small device. It's a data storage unit containing detailed schematics of our mining equipment. But these schematics show improvements we never thought of. The humans somehow analyzed our technology and found ways to make it 30% more efficient. Vextar felt his blood chill. The humans had not come to steal technology. They had come to improve it. Sir, Crowseye said quietly, if the humans can improve hegemony technology after studying it for only 6 hours, what else might they be capable of? More reports flooded in over the following days. Human infiltrators appeared on military bases, research stations, and industrial facilities across hegemony space. In every case, they studied rather than sabotaged. They learned rather than destroyed. And they always left behind evidence that they understood hegemony technology better than the hegemony itself. The most disturbing report came from the hegemony's primary research facility. Human infiltrators had accessed the classified archives containing details about every species the hegemony had conquered. They had studied the tactical records, learned the weaknesses that had led to each species' defeat, and analyzed the psychological profiles of every alien race in the Empire. They're not just learning about our technology, Vextar realized. They're learning about us. Our history, our tactics, our weaknesses, but why? Graltex asked. What is their purpose? Vextar thought back to the humans' original message. We are advancing toward you. They had not said they were attacking. They had said they were advancing, and that was exactly what they were doing. Not with armies or fleets, but with knowledge, understanding, and an ability to adapt that defied all previous experience. "Send a message to Fleet Command," Vextar ordered. "Tell them the humans are not what they appear to be, and tell them to prepare for something we have never faced before." As the transmission was sent, Vextar stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, humans were advancing through hegemony space, learning everything they needed to know. And for the first time in hegemony history, Vextar wondered if they were the ones who should be afraid. The first real attack came without warning and from an impossible direction. High Admiral Zekthon was reviewing defensive positions in the Cygnus sector when alarms began screaming throughout Fleet Command. The massive orbital station that coordinated hegemony military operations across 7 star systems had never been successfully infiltrated. Its shields could withstand the combined firepower of a dozen dreadnoughts. Its automated defenses could track and destroy anything larger than a grain of sand within 1,000 kilometers. Yet somehow, humans had gotten inside. "Report," Admiral Zekthon barked as he rushed onto the command deck. "Sir, we have multiple breaches on levels 7 through 12. His aide replied, her voice shaking. "Security teams report that vital systems are being systematically disabled, but they cannot locate the intruders." "How many humans?" "Unknown, sir. Estimates range from 3 to 30. They appear to be moving through maintenance shafts and service corridors that do not appear on our station schematics." Admiral Zekthon's 4 eyes widened. "Service corridors that do not appear on our schematics? That is impossible. This station was built by the finest hegemony engineers." "Sir," the communications officer interrupted, "I'm receiving reports from 17 other facilities across the sector. They are all under simultaneous attack by human infiltrators." The Admiral stared at the tactical display in disbelief. 17 separate facilities, scattered across multiple star systems, all being attacked at exactly the same time. The coordination required was beyond anything the hegemony had thought possible for such a primitive species. "What are they targeting?" he demanded. "Power distribution networks, communication relays, and supply chain management systems. They are not destroying anything, sir. They are improving it." "Improving?" His aide brought up a technical readout. "The humans have modified our power distribution system to operate at 40% greater efficiency. They have upgraded our communication networks to handle 3 times the data load, and they have optimized our supply chain algorithms to reduce resource waste by 60%. Admiral Zekthon felt his mandibles go slack. "They are helping us?" "It appears so, sir. But in doing so, they have also demonstrated complete mastery of our most advanced systems. They understand our technology better than we do." Before the Admiral could respond, the main display activated, showing the image of a human female. She appeared young by human standards, with short dark hair and calm brown eyes. She wore simple clothing that looked like it had been assembled from station maintenance supplies. "Admiral Zekthon," she said in perfect hegemony standard. "My name is Dr. Sarah Chen. I apologize for the unconventional introduction." "How did you access our communication system?" the Admiral demanded. "We upgraded it, remember? As a gesture of goodwill." Dr. Chen smiled, and somehow that expression was more unsettling than any threat. "We have been studying your people for some time now. Your technology is impressive, but it could be so much better. You have invaded our facilities. We have improved them. Your power systems were operating at 60% efficiency due to flawed routing algorithms. Your communication networks were bottlenecked by outdated protocols. Your supply chains were wasting enormous amounts of resources through poor optimization. We fixed these problems." Admiral Zekthon struggled to process what he was hearing. "Why would you help us?" "Because we want you to understand what you are facing. We told you we were advancing toward you. We did not say we were coming to destroy you. We are coming to surpass you." The human's words hung in the air like a challenge. Around the command deck, hegemony officers stared at the display in stunned silence. "Your empire is built on conquest," Dr. Chen continued. "You find species weaker than yourselves and you defeat them. But what happens when you encounter a species that becomes stronger through every interaction? That is impossible," Admiral Zekthon replied. "Strength is finite. Technology has limits, does it?" Dr. Chen gestured, and the display split to show feeds from all 17 attacked facilities. In each one, human teams were working alongside confused hegemony technicians, showing them improvements to their own systems. Every piece of technology you have shown us, we have learned to improve. Every tactic you have used against us, we have found ways to counter. Every strength you possess, we have discovered how to match and exceed. The Admiral watched in growing horror as the feeds showed human infiltrators not fighting hegemony forces, but teaching them, showing them better ways to organize their equipment, more efficient methods of data analysis, improved designs for their weapons and defenses. You are corrupting our systems, he accused. We are showing you what they could become. Your shields could be 30% stronger with minor modifications to the projection matrix. Your weapons could fire 20% faster with improved cooling systems. Your ships could travel 15% further with optimized fuel consumption. And in return, we learn how you think, how you organize, how you fight. Every improvement we offer teaches us more about your weaknesses. Admiral Zekthon felt cold certainty settle in his stomach. You have been studying us since the beginning, since before the beginning. We detected your scout ships in our system 40 years ago. We have been watching, learning, preparing ever since. When you finally made contact, we were ready. 40 years? The Admiral's voice was barely a whisper. That is impossible. Your species barely had spaceflight 40 years ago. Dr. Chen's smile grew wider. You assumed that because we stayed on one planet, we were trapped there. You never considered that we might be choosing to stay. Building, planning, learning everything we could about the galaxy before we stepped into it. The implications struck Admiral Zekthon like a physical blow. If the humans had been secretly studying galactic civilization for 40 years, they knew things about the hegemony that the hegemony had forgotten about itself. Every species you have conquered, Dr. Chen continued, every battle you have fought, every technology you have developed, we studied it all. We learned from every victory and every mistake, and then we learned to do it better. Sir, the communications officer called out urgently. I'm receiving surrender requests from 12 facilities in the outer sectors. Surrender requests? Admiral Zekthon turned to stare at his officer. Who is surrendering? Our own commanders, sir. They are requesting permission to surrender to the humans. Dr. Chen nodded approvingly. Your people are intelligent, Admiral. They recognize superior capability when they see it. We have not threatened them or harmed them. We have simply shown them what they could become if they learned from us instead of fighting us. The Admiral looked around his command deck. His officers were staring at the tactical displays with expressions of awe and fear. The humans had not destroyed anything. They had not killed anyone. They had simply demonstrated that everything the hegemony thought they knew was inadequate. What do you want from us? He asked quietly. The same thing we told Commander Vextar 18 months ago. We are advancing toward you. This is not conquest, Admiral. This is evolution. And the question you must ask yourself is simple. Will you evolve with us or will you be left behind? The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Zekthon staring at a blank screen. Around him, his officers waited for orders that he did not know how to give. For the first time in hegemony history, they faced an enemy that fought not by destroying, but by becoming superior. And deep in his hearts, Admiral Zekthon knew they were losing a war they had never understood they were fighting. Supreme Chancellor Mordak stood in the highest chamber of the hegemony capital, looking out at a view that had remained unchanged for 300 years. The gleaming spires of Zephyr Prime stretched toward the sky, monuments to an empire that had never known defeat. Today that was about to change. Report, General Vasktor, the Chancellor commanded without turning from the window. The General's voice carried a weight that Mordak had never heard before. Chancellor, we have lost contact with 63 Outer Rim facilities. 47 star systems have reported complete breakdown of command structure. Our supply lines have been disrupted across 12 sectors. How many ships have we lost? None, sir. Chancellor Mordak finally turned, his 6 arms gesturing in confusion. None? Then how have we lost 63 facilities? The humans are not destroying our ships, Chancellor. They are convincing our crews to stand down. Our own people are refusing to fight. The Chancellor's massive form loomed over the tactical display. The hegemony's greatest strength had always been its unity. Hundreds of conquered species working together under Zephyrian leadership. Now that unity was cracking, explain this madness, General Vasktor activated a recording. The image showed Captain Krelnax of the heavy cruiser Absolute Dominion. The veteran officer's expression was one Mordak had never seen before. Doubt. Supreme Chancellor, Captain Krelnak said. I have been studying the human tactical demonstrations for 3 days. I must report that our standard battle doctrine is fundamentally flawed. The humans have shown us weapon configurations that increase our firepower by 40%. They have demonstrated shield harmonics that could make our defenses nearly impenetrable. They have shared navigation algorithms that could reduce our travel time by half. And, the Chancellor demanded, Sir, if they can improve our technology this dramatically in 3 days, what could they accomplish in 3 months? In 3 years? We are not fighting an enemy, Chancellor. We are fighting our own obsolescence. The recording ended. Chancellor Mordak stared at the blank screen, feeling something he had never experienced. Fear of being surpassed. How many commanders have filed similar reports? 217, sir. All experienced officers, all citing the same conclusion. Human capability exceeds our own. Chancellor Mordak turned to his science advisor. Dr. Yelmoth, you have been analyzing human prisoners. What have you learned? The elderly scientist's multiple eyes flickered nervously. That is the problem, Chancellor. We have no human prisoners. What do you mean? Every human we have captured has been released voluntarily by our own security forces. The humans did not escape. Our guards let them go. Why? Because the humans spent their time in captivity, teaching our security teams improved protocols, better investigation techniques, more effective containment methods, enhanced interrogation procedures that do not require torture. Our guards concluded that the humans were more valuable as teachers than as prisoners. Chancellor Mordak felt his world tilting. Our people are abandoning their duties to learn from the enemy? Not abandoning, sir, evolving. The humans do not fight us. They improve us. And in doing so, they prove that they are superior. A new voice spoke from the chamber's entrance. May I offer a different perspective, Supreme Chancellor? Chancellor Mordak spun to see a human male standing calmly in the doorway. He was unremarkable by human standards. Average height, brown hair, wearing simple clothing that somehow looked both foreign and familiar. How did you get past my security? They invited me in, Chancellor. After I showed them how to improve their screening protocols. The human stepped forward without fear. My name is Professor James Harrison. I study alien psychology and social structures. You are a spy. I am a scholar. And I am here to offer you a choice. General Vascator reached for his weapon, but Chancellor Mordak raised a hand to stop him. Something about this human's demeanor suggested that violence would be pointless. What choice? The Chancellor asked. Professor Harrison gestured to the window overlooking the capital city. You built this empire through conquest. You found species that were weaker than you and you dominated them. It worked for 300 years because you never encountered a species that could become stronger than you. Humans are not stronger than us. Not yet. But we will be. Do you know why? Despite himself, Chancellor Mordak found he wanted to hear the answer. Because we do not see interaction as a zero-sum game. When we encounter something superior to us, we do not try to destroy it. We study it, learn from it, and become better. When you conquered the Velthari, you destroyed their mathematical innovations. When you conquered the Thekmai, you eliminated their agricultural advances. When you conquered the Morgathi, you suppressed their artistic achievements. Professor Harrison walked to the tactical display and activated it with casual familiarity. We studied all of those species through your own records. We learned their mathematics, their agriculture, their art. We built upon their knowledge instead of destroying it, and then we found ways to improve it all. The display showed a complex chart of technological development. Human advancement was represented by a line that curved sharply upward, accelerating with each point of contact with alien knowledge. You see conquest as dominance, Professor Harrison continued. We see it as education. Every battle you have fought has taught us better tactics. Every technology you have shown us has become a foundation for something superior. Every weakness you have revealed has become a strength we could exploit. Chancellor Mordak studied the chart with growing horror. You have been using us as teachers, willing teachers. Your people want to share their knowledge because they can see what we do with it. We do not suppress innovation like your empire does. We amplify it. What is your offer? The Chancellor asked quietly. Join us, not as subjects but as partners. Help us build something better than either of our species could achieve alone, or continue to resist and watch as your own people gradually choose to work with us instead of for you. And if we refuse, Professor Harrison shrugged, then you refuse. We will not force you, but your empire is already changing, Chancellor. Your people are already learning. You can lead that change or be overwhelmed by it. Chancellor Mordak looked around his council chamber. These beings had served the hegemony for decades, but he could see the doubt in their eyes. The human was right. His empire was already changing from within. You said this was our choice, he said finally. What choice do you face? Professor Harrison smiled, and in that expression, Chancellor Mordak saw something that terrified him. Complete confidence in an inevitable outcome. We have already made our choice, Chancellor. We chose to advance. The only question remaining is whether you will advance with us or remain behind. As if to emphasize his point, alerts began flashing across the tactical display, more facilities surrendering, more commanders requesting to join the human advance, more of his empire choosing evolution over stagnation. Chancellor Mordak realized that the war had been over before it began. The humans had not come to conquer the hegemony. They had come to replace it with something better, and his people were helping them do it. The final transmission came not to the hegemony's military command, but to every citizen across all 43 star systems simultaneously. Every communication device, every display screen, every data terminal carried the same message at the same moment. The coordination required was beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Vextar, now relegated to a minor observation post after his failure to stop the human advance, watched the transmission with a mixture of awe and defeat. The human who appeared on screen was Director Chen, the same voice that had first responded to his ultimatum 2 years ago. Citizens of the former Zephyrian hegemony, Director Chen began, her voice calm and clear. Today marks the end of one era and the beginning of another. Across the galaxy, billions of beings stopped what they were doing to listen. Zephyrians, Velthari, Thekmai, Morgathi, and dozens of other species all watched the same face speaking words that would reshape their understanding of what was possible. 2 years ago, your military leaders demanded our surrender. We told them we were advancing toward you. Today we have arrived. The display split to show images from across hegemony space. Human ships, no longer the crude vessels detected 18 months earlier, but sleek craft that incorporated the best technologies from every species in the galaxy. They moved through space with an elegance that surpassed anything the hegemony had ever built. But we did not come as conquerors. We came as students. We came to learn everything your civilization could teach us. And in return, we have tried to show you what you could become. Commander Vextar thought back to the reports he had received over the past months. Production on every world had increased. Resource waste had been eliminated. Scientific advancement had accelerated beyond all previous rates. The humans had not destroyed the hegemony's civilization. They had improved it beyond recognition. We discovered that your empire had accumulated the knowledge of hundreds of species across 3 centuries. Mathematics from the Velthari that could revolutionize space travel. Agricultural techniques from the Thekmai that could feed entire star systems. Artistic principles from the Morgathi that could inspire new forms of beauty. All of this knowledge existed within your empire, but it was scattered, suppressed, forgotten. Director Chen paused, and when she continued, her voice carried a note of sadness. Your leaders believed that strength came from dominance, that progress meant controlling others, but they were wrong. Strength comes from synthesis. Progress means lifting everyone up together. The display now showed collaborative projects across the galaxy, humans working alongside Zephyrians to build better starships, Velthari mathematicians collaborating with human physicists to unlock new principles of space-time manipulation, Thekmai botanists and human agriculturalists creating crops that could grow in previously impossible environments. We have spent 2 years learning from every species in your empire, and what we learned is that you are all remarkable. Each of your species contributed something unique to the galaxy. But under hegemony rule, those contributions were limited, controlled, diminished. Commander Vextar felt a strange emotion stirring in his chest. Pride, but not the pride he had known as a conqueror. This was different, the pride of being part of something greater than himself. Today we make you an offer. Not surrender, but partnership. Not submission, but collaboration. Join us in building a civilization that celebrates the strengths of every species instead of suppressing them. The display changed again, showing a vision of the future. Cities that incorporated architectural principles from every species. Ships that combined the best technologies from across the galaxy. Research institutions where beings from different worlds work together to push the boundaries of knowledge. Some of you will refuse. Some of you will cling to the old ways of thinking. That is your choice and we will respect it. But for those who choose to join us, we offer something your empire never could. The chance to become more than you ever imagined possible. Director Chen looked directly into the camera, and somehow Vextar felt like she was speaking to him personally. We told you we were advancing toward you. We have arrived. But this is not an ending. This is a beginning. The question now is not whether humanity will surpass you. The question is whether we will surpass ourselves together. The transmission ended, leaving Vextar staring at a blank screen. Around him, the observation post was quiet. His remaining crew members looked at each other with expressions of wonder and uncertainty. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "I am receiving requests from 17 different human-led projects. They are asking if we would like to contribute our expertise to their research." Vextar thought about this. His expertise was in military tactics and conquest. What could beings who had revolutionized an entire civilization want with such knowledge? "What kind of research?" he asked. "Conflict resolution, sir. They want to study how different species approach disagreement and find better ways to solve problems without violence." Despite everything, Vextar found himself laughing. Even his knowledge of war, the humans wanted to transform into something constructive. "Sir?" his officer prompted. Vextar stood and looked out at the stars. For 300 years, the hegemony had spread across the galaxy by force. In 2 years, the humans had surpassed them by choice. Species that had been conquered were volunteering to join something better. Technology that had been hoarded was being shared and improved. Knowledge that had been suppressed was being celebrated. "Accept their invitations," Vextar commanded. "All of them, sir." The humans were right about one thing. They told us they were advancing toward us, but they did not come to replace us. They came to show us how to advance ourselves. As his crew began transmitting acceptance messages, Vextar reflected on the human warning that had started everything. "We are advancing toward you." He had thought it was a threat. Now he understood it had been an invitation. Across the galaxy, the transformation continued. The hegemony's rigid hierarchy dissolved into a network of voluntary cooperation. Military fleets became exploration vessels. Conquered worlds became partner planets. An empire built on dominance became a civilization founded on synthesis. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, other species detected the radio signals emanating from this remarkable corner of the galaxy. Signals that spoke of unity between different worlds, of knowledge shared freely, of strength built through cooperation rather than conquest. Some of those distant species began to send their own messages toward the former hegemony space. Messages of curiosity, of hope, of desire to learn what these beings had discovered. And when those messages arrived, they would be answered not with ultimatums or demands for surrender, but with the same words the humans had once spoken. "We are advancing toward you. Come and learn what we can build together." The age of conquest was over. The age of advancement had begun, and it would never end.